Hey guys, welcome back to Geography World. For this video, we'll be looking at the Cape Geography Unit 1 2021 Paper 2. Stay tuned. I see the comments and requests and I will act on them. Please remember to follow Geography World channel on Instagram and Facebook using the link shown on the screen. Please remember to like, share with your friends and subscribe. For person wishing to contact me privately, you may email me at geographyworld100@gmail.com. The link will be posted below. Guys, so for this video, we're going to look at question number 2, and question number 2 looks at module 1. Part 1 to the question asks that we define the term life expectancy at birth. Now, life expectancy is the average time an individual is expected to live based on their years of birth. Life expectancy may also be dependent on gender, economic disposition of the country, access to proper health care, and individual lifestyle. Life expectancy is usually higher in the MDCs than in the LDCs. Asian countries have recorded highest life expectancy rates, and females they also have a higher life expectancy rate than males. This is 2 marks. Once you're able to define life expectancy, which is the average time an individual is expected to live based on their year of birth. Once you're able to do this, that's 2 marks for you. Part B to the question, it gives you a figure which shows the demographic transition model, and it also gives you a table, right? And we are to look at the demographic transition model to basically fill out the information in the table. So this is what is on the demographic transition model, where you have the different stages, you have the birth rate per population, you have the death rate. Now, the demographic transition model, it basically helps explain and make sense of changes in population demographics. So what the question wants us to do is to basically look at where these countries would basically fall with their birth rate and their death rate. So Japan with a birth rate of 8.4 and 9.5 for the death rate would fall at a stage 5, while Italy with a birth rate of 8.8 and a death rate of 10.5 would also fall at level 5. Mauritius would fall at level 4, Brazil would fall at level 3, Ethiopia would fall at level 2, and Bangladesh would fall at level 3. Once you were able to do all 6 marks belong to you. Part C asks that you discuss Esther Bozarov's theory of population growth as it relates to food security in the 21st century. And in your essay, you must provide an explanation of the theory. You must provide 2 examples of technology in agriculture and 2 countries that adopt these technology, and outline 2 impediments to achieving food security. So let's start with the explanation of the theory. So Esther Bozarov asserts that an increase in the population would lead to an increase in innovation and invention. She believes that necessity is the mother of invention. She agreed or argued that the higher the population, the higher the incentives to technological development. Technological development is seen as a determinant of demographic change. So Bozorok believes that population growth stimulates changes in agricultural system, which leads to changes such as agricultural intensification. That is explaining what the theory is. She believes that The more the population grow, the more things will be put in place to basically address the population growth. So population growth will stimulate changes in agricultural system, and it will lead to different technologies being implemented in agriculture. Now let's look at part two to the question, and we are going to look at examples of technologies and countries that adopt these technologies. So the first one we have is the Green Revolution. The Green Revolution is introduction of biotechnologically advanced crops, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and agricultural machineries, and this is introduced in countries such as India, Mexico, Latin America, and parts of Asia. So the Green Revolution is where they introduce biotechnologically advanced crops and chemicals in places like India, Mexico, Latin America, and Asia. A second technology that you can look at is genetically modified crops and grafting of plants, and this is found in countries like North America, Canada, and the Caribbean. Another one that you can look at is aqua farming and the blue revolution, and this is an advancement and economic activity associated with fishing in the sea and ocean in countries such as China, southern US, Jamaica, and Belize. So they have aqua farming and the blue revolution. We have animal engineering, and this is advanced in manipulating animal genetics for economic purposes in countries such as Jamaica, US, and some parts of Europe. We also have the use of technology to encourage pollination of plants, and this is done in Western US. We also have the improvement in the irrigation systems such as sprinklers and self-watering systems, and this is done in North America and the Caribbean. So far that's seven. We had the Green Revolution, we had the genetically modified craft and crops and graphene, we have aqua farming and the blue revolution, we have animal engineering, we have the use of technology to encourage pollination, we had the improvement in the irrigation system. Once you were able to list any two examples of technologies in agriculture and two countries that adopt these, you should be well on your way. Now, the last part of the question asks that you outline two impediments to achieving food security. Now, in order to the impediments that stand in the way of food security are one, decrease in agriculture due to the heavy demand of the population for residential or economic purposes. The land that we have, it's a fixed amount. However, the population keep growing, and as the population grows, the land that we usually use for agriculture is now shared because are being used for residential or other economic purposes. That is a major impediment as it relates to food security. And what you realize is that a lot of other strategies are being put in place to basically make up for the land that has been used for residential and other economic purposes. So, another one we have is the lack of financial or incentives toward the agricultural sector. In Jamaica and most Caribbean countries, we realize that there is a lack of funding as it relates to the agricultural sector, or there is a limited amount. So, with if enough money is not being used or issued or being used to basically motivate farmers to do what they have to do, this will basically hinder food security. We have land degradation due to intensification of agricultural production. We have problem with distribution of food to places most in need, and this usually happen when we have like a civil war or there are refugee camps. We have natural disasters, and man-made disasters such as hurricane, and we have man-made disasters. So we have devastating pathogens that damage plantation crops, and the slow recovery after the hazard impedes the objective of achieving food security. We have the lack of water access or poor water management, which reduces agricultural output, thus impeding food security. Any two impediments, once you're able to outline it, then you should be well on your way to answering the question and on your way to getting that 13 marks. Part D to the question states that we outline Berge's concentric ring model and explain two ways in which the pattern of land use is most in most cities in less developed countries do not conform to Berge's model. Now, Burgess's concentric model was based on study of land use in Chicago, USA in the 1920s, and it suggests that cities grew outward from the central business district, which is usually the oldest part of the urban area, in a series of concentric rings of land use. The central area has high density and the availability of land is scarce. Land values are higher in the center of the town or city due to competition being high in the central part of the settlement. This leads to high rise, high density buildings being found near the CBD with low density sparse population on the edge of the town or city. The part of Berge's concentric model includes the central business district, the zone of factory or industries, working class housing, middle class housing, and the high income housing or the commuter zone. Now, let us look at some of the reasons why this model does not conform to the LDCs that we have today. Now, we talk about the variation in patterns. So every city is different, and there are various factors that influence the growth of various cities, such as its topography. Now, with the evolution of time, urban areas have become more complex, hence, Berge's model is not applicable outside of the US. The existence of a single business district is rare, as most cities have primary districts and secondary districts to enable the population better access to goods and services. Another reason is transportation. Now, due to the improvement in transportation, cars or vehicles change the way people commute on a daily basis. Hence, there is preference for living in a particular zone has changed. In LDC, mass transportation is often inadequate in some developing countries and would distort settlement patterns, thus hindering the development of concentric rings. So, because of the improvement in vehicles or commuting or transportation, what you realize is that no, you are not confined to a zone anymore. Persons live in the central business district or they live far from the central business district, and due to the fact that they own a car, they're able to drive to the central business district, right? Now, manufacturing industry do not conform to Burgess's concentric model due to the lack of planning, regulations, or how a person assess the land. So manufacturing, they're not found in a concentric circle anymore. They're usually located closer to the ports or their main natural resource or their main product if it is located there. But most manufacturing companies are found closer to the port, which makes it easier for them to participate in exporting and importing of goods. Let's talk about residential. Now, new working and housing trends have emerged since the model was developed. Many people now choose to live and work outside the city on the urban fringe that was reflected in Burgess's model. In LDC, the central business district is surrounded by high class apartments and older class houses built during the colonial time, occupied by the wealthy and various income categories in gated communities. In LDCs, the quality of houses tend to decrease with distance from the central business district, with the development of shanty towns on the outskirts. So along the business district, you realize that the houses they start to decrease. Alright, so persons are not confining themselves to a specific area, but they are building where land is available. Let's talk about retail and trade. Many areas of cities in LDCs are multifunctional with the lack of specialized zones as proposed in this model. Lack of organized planning prevents the ideal of concentric rings. Urban areas in most small island developed states starts with the CBD on the coast to facilitate trade. Physical characteristics near the coast, such as swamps, rivers, would distort the concentric circle of settlement as the model suggests. So, as I stated earlier, most of the central business districts they're located along the coast, and then you realize that other the residential areas and other zones they move back. So there's no circle, it's more like a semicircle, but due to change, so the model is not effective in LDCs today. Once you were able to attempt and do all this, a total of 30 marks would be yours. We are at the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and please remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your post notification bell in order to receive more videos like these. Leave comments below suggesting topics that you would want me to present on. In the comment section below, comment the name of your school and the territory for a shout out in my next video. Until then, bye.